Hey guys, I'm back from the wilderness, and I missed you, even though it is always good for us to go offline, right? And I love that as much as I enjoy my social media connecting and inspiration and getting to share, I don't have any problem either if it's time to go offline for a week. So I pretty much turned off my phone for the last week and was in the wilderness with my kids, very fortunate to say, and other families, homeschool families, and I'm back. And I'm eager as ever to share with you what I keep noticing in this awesome yoga journey, yoga evolution, right? So, welcome if you're here. And yeah, I feel like this whole piece is something that even a lot of us yogis, people who feel like we've been in the world of yoga or even teaching yoga, much less practicing it, for me it really took years for me to realize this on many levels, like how much what we're doing with all of these practices, all of the practices of yoga. So yes, heck yes, the mat practice, the use of breath, the use of attention, awareness, focus, the use of all the parts of meditation that we get to bring into our yoga lifestyle, and then all the other things that I love to remind you can be part of our yoga. Journaling, yoga, walking is yoga. Dancing can be yoga. What else? Just about anything, right? So our practices of connecting are also practices that manage and even are medicine for us in an energetic way. And this is really some of why I think I've seen that when we get daily about it, whatever we are doing, when we get more like daily, when we also get more personalized, meaning we're using the practices that we realize really work for us. When we do use poses, we're using the poses that are a good choice for us, right? And that are going to tune us energetically in a way that works for us and that leaves us feeling how we want to feel, right? And functioning how we want to function. And yeah, but to realize that this is energy medicine that you're doing to yourself, for yourself, every day. So this doesn't take away from the power of letting other people do energy work on you. I think that's totally cool. Let other people do the Reiki on you. Let other people do the chiropractic work that can help you energetically. Let other people do what they do with their energy work on you. Totally awesome, right? But also super powerful to realize that when you're using these practices, you're doing energy medicine on yourself. You're doing energy work with yourself, to yourself. And the more that you're willing to do this, more like every day, whoa, the energy situation really changes. And we develop a whole new standard of what energy feels like home and what energy we're in when we go out in the world. And we really get a chance to develop our tools of healing, right? And shifting a lot of health stuff when we really start to embrace this energy medicine that we're doing to ourselves, for ourselves, more like every day. But don't discount the power of the energy medicine of also things like the journaling and the walking and even just the attention and the focus and the awareness and the imagination, right? Another of our yoga tools. So, but knowing that all of these things are becoming energy tools that we get to use for ourselves. So, and then if you are someone who's doing work, well, all of us are in the world in an energetic way, and you could almost say all of us are doing energetic work, whatever we're doing, right? Whether we're parenting or gardening or a teacher or a therapist or even calling ourselves an energy worker, then you can start to see even more so how important it is that we're managing our own energy and that we are honing in on how our yoga, our connecting life, our connecting practices, right? Our connecting practices perspectives, and psychology, all of it, under our scope of yoga, when we really see that it's energy work we're doing to ourselves, for ourselves, more like every day, you start to wrap your brain around the power of what you're doing with these practices. So, yeah, I'm just so excited to share this and to help more of us realize that that's what we're doing with these practices. And, maybe more so my spin is like, don't wait and just go to class once a week and do it. Like, that's great too. But the more that you start bringing it into your everyday life, the more that you start bringing it into how you start your days. I'm into that. If you don't already, then I'll remind you. How we start our days is hugely important energetically. And the things that we do to tune ourselves, and actually realizing that whatever we're doing as we start our days is tuning us, whether we like it or not. So if we're watching the news, it's tuning us, right? If we're reading some poetry, it's tuning us. If we're staring at a flower, it's tuning us. If we're listening to something that uplifts us, it's tuning us, right? So all of these, remember, all of it under the scope of yoga, but realizing that it's energy medicine. It's energy work you're doing to yourself, for yourself. And the more you do it every day, the more of a momentum you're going to gather and grow that gets even more strong and consistent, and vibration raises, we could say, and we just start to even get more adept, more comfortable even in a higher vibration. And so, yeah, but we got to realize that we're doing energy work with these practices, and that's why when we slack off, we feel so different. It may or may not be that we feel different in our bodies, but we are going to feel different in our energy if we don't do those things. If we started to find the things that tune us and we're not doing them, we start to notice, whoa, I feel really different, whether it's just being maybe a little more cranky, a little more anxious, a little more irritable, a little less present, or, symptoms coming up in the body. All energy, right? Moods are energy, thoughts are energy, symptoms are energy, life is energy, right? So that's where you can also see that we're tuning our lives when we tune ourselves, knowing that our energy affects it all too, right? So that's a powerful next step if you're ready for that. But how we are vibing, right, is totally vibing out and attracting more of the same. So also energy medicine we get to do to our lives when we tune ourselves more with, remember though, the simplest of things, the things that you've realized give you the tools, the awareness, the reset into the perspectives and the psychology that help tune you in that energy way. And then, heck yeah, with the poses, amazing energy medicine when we use those poses. And that's why it can be that even if we just added one pose a day, it can totally change so much and be amazing energy medicine, and maybe a lot better choice for a lot of us to start adding one therapeutic pose a day versus waiting once a week to do it for an hour and a half, especially if you're doing stuff in that hour and a half that doesn't leave you feeling tuned or better, right? So the energy medicine that we're doing is really what I want to help get out there in the world more about. The yoga, the meditation as energy work we do, and energy medicine, and that especially if we're energy workers, which really we all are, it's even more important, I would vote, that we are tuning our own energy and really realizing how we do the energy work on ourselves. And then, yes, receive the energy work, the energy medicine from others as part of our yoga. Beautiful. And that's also where we can realize that conversations, who we're spending our time with, right, as part of our yoga, is tuning our energy too, and some of the energy medicine. So, yes, I love it, and I'm just so excited to share with you and keep reminding you of all the things that can fall under the scope of our yoga. I love, part of what got me thinking about this is when I go on trips and travel, my practices do change a bit, even though I have some of my consistent morning things that I know I like to do. So I am always going to be doing some things that are connecting me and part of my yoga. But for me, sometimes when I travel, like a lot of you, I may do less of my mat practice. So when I went camping this last week, I did do just more like a couple poses a day, usually just like a couple standing ones. And, occasionally later in the week, I did a couple, kind of on the sleeping bag in my tent that were more laying down poses. But, it was a lot more slim with my daily mat practice. But I know enough to say that doesn't mean I wasn't doing yoga, right? And then, yes, I was actually still going out each morning and sitting by the river with my journal, because my journaling is just as important in my energy managing as my mat practice, and just as great of a tool of yoga. So I was still doing my journaling. I was still meditating, sitting there just with eyes open, staring, listening, tuning in, all the energy work of that, and closing my eyes too. And then being in nature, right? Such a connecting practice, and really bringing in a chance to be more present. And, other ways that I got to commune. And what else did I do that I could see as part of my yoga? And of course, always I've got things like my breath that are part of my tools, right? And even just keeping an eye on attention, awareness, imagination, focus, right? All part of the tools of yoga. So, and even reading, like I brought some books to dip into to be part of my tuning. But I did a little less of my usual mat practice. And it is so interesting, though, to notice how now it's been almost a full week. Today I was excited to get down and do my usual mat practice, which really is only about 15-20 minutes, because that's all it really needs to take when you get it right and you get it personal for you. Because I do now notice if I skip that fuller, longer mat practice for days and days, it's not so much that my body, I might feel a little thing of less fluidity in my body, or maybe a little discomfort, especially with things like sleeping on the ground. Although I felt pretty darn good sleeping on the ground, and I know that's because of my daily mat practice. Because alignment is what we feel when we lay on the ground. So when we're out of alignment, that's why that hurts. So I know that my daily practice at home makes it so that I can go sleep on the ground with pretty much ease and not feel uncomfortable or start hurting or having pain because of it. And I can sit in the car for long drives, and not wind up in pain because of it. But by today I was noticing, for me, I feel like more energy. It's almost like too much energy when I'm not doing as many of my energy practices. So I was so excited to get down and do my mat practice, and just like ironed me out perfectly. Such energy work, such a meditation of its own, right? But so reminded again of the power of that mat practice to just, when it's personalized and specific for us, is just the bomb with the energy medicine. And that's why it can be such the perfect way to help alleviate a lot of stuff, and I'm here for you when you're ready for that, because it's all energy, and we can fix a lot of stuff with this approach, help you fix it. But it's also just cool to know that even if it's just one pose a day, or getting in that journal more, or taking the walks, or stepping outside, getting into breath, how we're using imagination, sound, right? Music is therapy, dancing. Dancing is huge energy medicine, right? Singing, creating is energy medicine. That's why I love to express that art-like activities that are more along the lines of just expression instead of trying to make something pretty is, or do it right, I don't know, is energy medicine too, right? And part of our yoga. Totally falls under the scope of yoga, and that's why more and more of my events and retreats always have that as a part of it, because it's like such a great part of yoga is to do things like the vision boarding and the journaling and the different creating we can do, knowing it's totally energy medicine, transmuting so much, alchemy, right? Totally alchemy, what we get to do with all of this under the scope of yoga, because of the reconnecting too, right? Also because it's reconnecting us with ourselves, with the heart, with the soul, with the spirit within, with God, with our angel team, with the universe has a whole energy aspect too when we're just doing that reconnecting, anything that helps us feel reconnected in those ways, right? So good. So yes, time to hone it and own it. I would say that all of this is energy medicine we're doing to ourselves, energy work you do to you and tune you with, and pretty freaking rad what we can do here. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow. Loving you guys. Namaste.